welcome to another dynamic duo show on Wednesday night. And joining me tonight is John from John Sinclair TV. How are you, John?
Big up to you, Tony, even to you, evening viewers. I hope we had a good day. It's been a good day today, and got finished at 2:30. No gym today, but it's been a good day, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. I'm not too bad at all. Looking forward to this show tonight, and I'm looking forward to see what your team of past and present players are, John. And I bet you've got a few surprises and your subs and your manager as well. Because I think mine are going to be a surprise to probably a lot of people as well. What I've picked, I tell you what, it's one of those teams though it's hard to pick because we've had so many good players, and you could pick 3, 4, 5, or 6 teams even, John. So and including subs. So yeah. I look forward to when we get into that. But guys, if you like what you see, then please hit those like buttons. That helps push this up the search settings and gets my channel found more. Also, if you haven't yet, then please hit that subscribe button. It's free to do so. And also hit the bell notification. That'll let you know every time my channel comes live or I upload a video. Thank you very much. And we'll just delve into a couple of comments straight away. Good evening, says Ali Coffee to Tony, John and all. Good evening to you.
Big up.
Oh, we got Mr. Pete Prowdle in the house. Evening, Tony and John.
Yay.
Wonder what Mr. Teeth has been chopping away at today. Well, Pete. Well, hasn't he? He got the freedom of Liverpool, didn't he, today? So he's got his teeth into that for certain, hasn't he? Gary says, good evening, Tony and John. Good evening, Gary. Hope you're well, mate. I have a coffee laughing at Pete's comment there. Yeah, that Mr. Teeth, since I brought that out, it's still going on, and I think everybody's going to love using that now, aren't they? So yeah, that's what happens when I brought it out. So one of our viewers in the chat last week asked us to come up with a combined, like a team. So we said, right, what we'll do is we'll give ourselves a week, and we said this Wednesday we'll come back, and what we'll do is we've both come together with probably 2 different lineups of past and present players, and including we've put 9 subs because of the 5 sub rule, and also a manager as well. So, John, do you want to delve into your team and let us know your lineup, please? Your first 11 and then your subs and your manager.
Yeah, do that in one go, or just do it by step? So if I name the manager.
Yeah, if you want to name your goalkeeper, and then I'll do my goalkeeper.
Yeah, and I'll just tell the reason why. For me, I'm going to my generation there. I'm going to go with, and I think it's quite an easy one for me, I'm going to say Shay Given. And the reason I say Shay Given, right, he's been in the club for what, is it 10 seasons, 11 seasons, somewhere like that. And this goalkeeper, man, he has saved us many, many a time. I mean, he's so dominated in the box. He's quick, shot stopping, setting the none. He's a leader. And I tell you what, as well, Tony, right? He deserves to be winning trophies and that as well. He's been so loyal to us. And what can I say? I think this guy, deserves to be right at the very top, being the best keeper in Newcastle's history. So I'm going with Shay Given.
Yeah, you've gone exactly the same as me, John. That's what I thought of as well. Shay Given straight away came to mind. There was a few keepers that I could have picked, but ultimately Shay Given came top of that list. I was even thinking back to the early 80s when we had Kevin Carr in goal, because he was a great keeper as well. But Shay Given won my vote all over. He was brilliant in goal. He saved us a lot of points as well. Some games we could have been absolutely walked over, but if it wasn't for Shay Given, and what a bargain he was. He went on loan to Sunderland, and we got him from Blackburn, I think, for about $1 million, and $1.5 million. And do you know what an absolute steal he was. And great servant. So we both went Shay Given. So That's a good one. And in the comments, I like coffee shake given. Alan, evening to you, Alan. Hope you're well. And even Alan says she given as well. Right, John, we'll go to your right back. Who's your right back then?
I could quite easily say Kieran Trippier, but the thing is, all right, I think it's too early. I mean, he'd be on the short list there. Ryan Barton, for me, I like him for his hard work, and it's a deb as well. Barry Fenderson, for me, this could be a shock for me. I'm gonna go put down to either John Anderson or I'm gonna go with Steve Watson, but it's a hard one, Tony, for right back, because I've been thinking about it all day. I really do think about it all day, but for me, I'm going by my generation, right? I'm gonna go with just Steve Watson for me, because one thing I'm going to say about Steve Watson, right? He can defend, and he's good at going forward as well. So I just flip and flop, but I could was about Fenson. I could say Warren Barton. I'm going to say just Steve Watson for me. What do you think?
Well, I've gone totally different for a right back to you than John, because I've actually I've come to a present player, and my right back is this guy, Mr. Kieran Trippier. I mean, I know you say it's too early, John, but I mean, the guy oozes a lot of quality. Not only is he great from the dead ball, as they call him, the Barry Beckham, also he's a true leader on the pitch. You know, the leadership he shows on the pitch is absolutely tremendous. You know, I mean, the guy's, you know, runs up and down that pitch like he's still a youngster. You know, he keeps himself fit, and he gets back, does the defensive duties, but also can put a great cross in, as we know. He can assist a goal or two, and you know, and he can come up with from a free kick as well, and he can beat the very best in world football. So, in my eyes, Kieran Trippier gets my vote at right back in my team.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? Right, I could change my mind up to, if you're talking about up till now, right? Up until now, I could choose Kieran Trippier as we right back, 100%. Do you know what I mean? But I said Steve Watson at a time because I think that guy is brilliant, you know. But until we look at Runa's career, but I could always say, excuse me, I could say Kieran Trippier, and can I change my mind and say Kieran? Because
of course you can.
I'll go Trippier then. If you're talking about up to now, I choose Trippier. But going back there, it'd be Steve Watson.
Yeah. Pete says Shea given definitely that save against Kevin Phillips' shot was just top draw. Yeah, absolutely, Pete. I remember that was a top save. That wasn't it. Ross says Tripp should be in there regardless of how long he's been with us. Yeah, absolutely, Ross. I totally agree with you, mate. Yeah, that's why Trippier got my vote at right back. LA Coffee, we've had some good players who didn't unleash their full potential until after they left the club. Yeah, absolutely.
There's a few
we've had quite a few of them. Trippier right back, yeah, absolutely. Everybody's favouring Trippier, even Alan as well. So, Trippier's got the vote on that one, John. Right, so give me your first centre-back.
For me, I'm going to go with Philippe Albert. No question for me, because, look, it is so stylish at the back. He can actually pass the ball. If he played the ball out from the back then, he'd be the best in the world at that, playing it out from the back. But this guy, he can tackle. He reads the game. He's a big lad. That goal against United, by the way, is absolutely magic, by the way. That could be one of the greatest goals I've seen ever in a black and white shirt. But for me, he is so dominant. And let me tell you something right about this guy, yeah? It cost someone like £2.5 million. He could have gone to Fiorentina, but Newcastle came in and got him first. But I like this player. I really, really do. And I think he's brilliant, Tony. That guy defends properly as well. Yes, he has heavy moments, but he is a proper defender. He can pass the ball, he scores goals, he can take shots as well. And he can also play left back, he can play midfield, but centre back, for me, I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, got to agree, John. I mean, he's in my team as well. Philip Albert's in my first 11. I mean, tremendous centre half. I mean, like he said he said about that lobbed goal against Man United back then, he said, I only tried it because we were 4-0 up. If we had only been 1 or 2-0 up, I wouldn't have tried something audacious like that. But he says, because we were 4-0 up, I thought, why not? He says the Man United players weren't coming towards me, so I thought, let's have a shot and see what I can get out of it. And sure enough, back of the net, 5-0. But yeah, he was a terrific centre half. I really liked Philip Albert, and yeah, he was one of the best in world football, and we were very, very lucky to have him. And he wore that number 27 shirt with absolute pride. Just see what people have said in the comments. Pete even says Trippier for me at right back. Ross says, agreed, John. Albert, just for the Man U goal alone, gets my vote. So Ross is on your side there as well. And Alan says Albert, and Pete says Albert and Peacock would be my 2 centre halves. Right, John. So who's your next centre half? Who's his partner, Albert?
If you're talking about now, right, I could have said Darren Peacock. Darren Peacock's a decent defender. Brian McClain is quality as well. For me, I'm gonna say between Botman and Woodgate. Yeah. Are you going with?
You got to pick one.
I got to pick one, don't I?
Yeah.
Now that's what I'm going to leave alone, because Woodgate is quality when he is fit, right? And oh God, man, if you're talking now, I'm going to go with Botman. Botman. It's only look, Woodgate is quality. Yeah, he's a class defender, no doubt about it. He did a job in his pocket against Marseille. Well, I don't know if he did or not, because Joe Gaston chances, but he's injured as well. I want to see my defense play 30-odd games, and Jonathan Woodgate don't do that. But Woodgate's class when he plays in black and white shirt. But Botman, this guy, he is a proper defender. He's a unit, by the way. He's an absolute unit. He's better than Saliba. I don't care what anyone say. He's better than William Saliba. He's quality, but this guy is something else, man. And I'll tell you what, one thing I'm going to say, whoever is scouting for defenders, should have an absolute serious inquiry on why they not looked at this guy. Newcastle got there first, and Milan, but we were the winners at the end of the day. And I hope you keep this player for the next 10 years at least, because he is absolutely superb. This guy is good enough to play for one of the elite clubs. And I'm talking about Madrid, Barcelona, Man City. He is that good, Tony. And I tell you what, if he gets a captaincy, he'd be one of the best captaincies of all time at Newcastle.
Yes, John. I mean, well, Newcastle did put a tweet out the other night showing a video footage of Botman and saying now a future captain. So they've obviously got big plans that he's going to be the future captain. But yeah, I mean, he's in my side as well, John. I mean, I couldn't not put him in, He's an absolute rock at the back. He's absolutely fantastic. I just keep running out of things to say for this guy week in, week out, because he just keeps performing. And, and the club have said today that it's unusual that we've gone for a player, but no other Premier League teams ever looked at going in for Botman. We were the only one who went in for him. So we saw something totally different to what they've seen. But I'm so glad we've got him, because he's the rock at the back. And this guy is just going to get better and better. And remember, he's only 22, so he's got a long way before he gets to his peak yet. So this guy, the sky's the limit for this guy. And I can't wait to see more of him, to be fair, John. But yeah, this guy, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, he gets me slot in the team as well. I'll just go into a few comments.
You know what it is, right, Tony, right? I mean, he just said that a lot of people have not heard of Sven Botman. I was speaking to him a day, right? And I said to him, no one ever heard of Sven Botman. Us in Milan went for him. That's it. Do you know what I mean? But I'll be honest, I never heard of Sven Botman until this season, really, or January, and then in the summer. Every one in the Premier League knows who this guy is now. And if anyone's in the Premier League, they're not having him. They're not having him at all. He's ours for a long, long time. Hopefully, at the end of the season, look at his contract and better it. Give him 200k a week, because that guy hasn't. Has he been tested, though, Tony? Has he been tested yet? I don't think he has, you know.
I don't think so, John. Even if he has been tested, John, he's still, he just makes defending look easy, doesn't he? I mean, he'd done that tackle at Man United where he put the ball out for a corner. He knows when to get the blocks, and that's the thing. And but people don't like playing against us now because the way our playing is, our pressing, our intensity. So, but Botman is just absolutely brilliant. I mean, Night of Knee Gaming says, "Good evening to you, mate." Albert and Mudgate for him. Del Boy's in the house. What's the crack? What's the bleeding story, Big T and my man John?
Big up, Del, my G, Harry D.
Yeah.
Love his channel,
yeah, mate, we're going through players past and present, like who we would put in our first 11 and substitutes, and Foxy's in the house. Welcome to you, Foxy, the dynamic duo.
Foxy.
That's what we are. Botman says Alan Little. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Pete says left back, I'd choose Beresford. Yeah, good shout. Woodgate for performances, Kilcline for importance, but Botman will eclipse them all, I think, says Ross. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant, isn't he? I like coffee. You know you're good when you're in the Newcastle starting 11 with club legends. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, mate, yeah. And Foxy says, Woodgate, the best centre back we had. A player that's had only 11 games for us should never go ahead of him. He did do well for us. I mean, I liked Woodgate. The only problem was he had too many injuries for my liking, But yeah, other than that, no, Woodgate was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Night of Knee Gaming, Haaland and Man City were a test. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Botman had his test against them as well. Yeah. And done well as well. Mason says, Mason's in. How are you, Mason? Hope you're well, mate. I see Brighton are starting their business already. We're signing Facundo Buonanotte from Rosario Central. I've not heard of him. Is that a Brazilian or Argentinian? Because it sounds
Argentinian.
Like...
I think he's an Argentinian, I think. And
is he?
I think if remember serves us rightly, I haven't watched him, but they rate him very, very highly, this kid. And but I'm not seen him play, but I heard good things about him. So big up to Brighton getting this guy.
Right, John. So, who's your left back?
There's plenty. You want to go for stylish and good on the balls. Olivier Bernard. I think that guy has been cracking for a young age and that sort of thing. First time he came play for Newcastle. For me, I'll go with Pete. I'll go with John Beresford. For me, he's a leader. Gets forward, up and down every single time. He can score goals as well, and he's just so passionate, and he's a talker. That's what I like about my back line. Do you know what I mean? Something talking all the time. He is absolutely brilliant. And do you know what it is with John Beresford? He's got a connection with Newcastle still, right? And I tell you what, he'd be one happy guy today. And the way we're at in a minute, but John Beresford, what a player. He can play left back, left wing, and going forward. Brilliant.
Yeah, John, I mean, he's my left back as well in my team. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, £650,000 we paid for him. He went to Liverpool, failed his medical. We took him on, signed him, when we were in what is now the Championship, and helped us to promotion that season. I remember an interview with John Beresford, and he said when I went to the club to have talks with the manager, Keegan said, and John Beresford says, what can the club offer me? And Keegan turned around and he said, right, I'll tell you what will happen. This season we're going to get promoted. The next season we'll be in the Premier League. You'll then be in the England team. The season after that, we'll be playing in Europe. And John Beresford sat there and thought, hang on, this guy's away with the fairies, yeah. He says, but he says Keegan was right on everything he actually said. And he said, I was sold as soon as he opened his mouth and said them words, we'll get promoted. He said, I was like, okay, then that's fine. And we did get promoted as well. So, yeah, John Beresford, brilliant servant to the club. Excellent left back. And, gets the vote all day for left back, in my opinion. We'll see. We'll go into some more comments. Foxy says Botman had some worrying moments versus Haaland. Haaland could have scored 3 or 4 against us, really. Yeah, he could have, because he's a different player altogether, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. He's 1-on-1. I mean, Botman was going to take him out, by the way. He thought better of that sort of thing. 1-on-1, and the keeper Liverpool came up on top.
Ross says Bez left back was exceptional in the black and white shirt. Yes, he was, Ross. Absolutely. Alan Little says Alan Kennedy left back. Yeah, that's a good show because he wasn't a bad left back, even though I didn't see a lot of him. Nail, big up, lads. Dropping you a like. Thank you very much, Nail. Del Boy says, hit the likes, people, and let's support Tony. Thank you very much, Del Boy. Thank you, mate.
Big up.
And LA Coffee said, Jose Enrique is left back. Yes, he wasn't a bad left back, was he, Jose Enrique? Night and E Gaming says Jose Enrique as well.
Mm-hmm. He's done well.
Davide Santon as well.
Yeah, good going forward, but a lot of injuries. I think Inter Milan were glad to sell him to us, by the way, because they knew of his injury record at the time. But the guy's talented. He really, really is talented. I mean, he plays left back, right-footed. Do you know what I mean? But Davide Santon, if he's fully fit, I think this guy would have been absolutely top draw.
And Gary, hi Gary, he says Mackems on 0-0 at half-time away to Huddersfield. Right, John. So, another comment there. Foxy says Woodgate pocketed Drogba, Viduka, Anelka, Fowler, Heskey, Keane, Canute, Andy Cole, of Wout van Nistelrooy, Henry, Bergkamp, Wilfred, Crespo, and Goodjohnson. And he says, apart from Kane and Son, don't think Botman has potted anyone else, but that would make it a list, to be honest, yeah. But the thing is, though, I mean, Botman's still got a while before he gets to his peak yet, so he's got a long way to go yet. Right, John, so we've covered the goalkeeper in the back four now, because I'm going on a 4-4-2 lineup, by the way, John.
Yeah, that's fine.
So who's your right winger, John?
Oh, that's a very, very, very good question for me. And who's my left wing it is. But on the right side, I mean, I've got to go with generations, by the way. I think a couple got Nobby Solano, you've got Kike Gillespie. Rob Lee can play there as well. So I've got to put Rob Lee there. And I'll tell you for why. Because he is so skillful and he's got an eye for goal as well. And again, that's a difficult one, man. You can play 4-4-2. And it's going to have to be him. It's going to have to be Rob Lee.
So you're going with Rob Lee there, are you?
Yeah, but I know a lot of people's going to say probably Keith Gillespie because I think that guy is excellent. Nobby Solano, brilliant. He can cross the ball as well. He doesn't beat a man. He just crosses the ball. But I may have changed my mind on that one. On that right-hand side, I want to see a right winger plays on the right side. For me, I would have preferred for Rob Lee midfield, but for me, I've got to put in Nobby Solano for me in my generation.
So this guy you want in there, Nobby Solano,
100%.
Yeah.
100%. All day.
Right. Well, my right winger is totally different to yours than John, because the right winger that I thought of is this guy, Keith Gillespie. I mean, come as part of the deal when we sold Andy Cole to Manchester United. And then that's when Kevin Keegan famously come on the steps. And I can remember at first, a lot of fans, we all thought, oh, Keith Gillespie, is he any good? You know, because we hadn't really seen a lot of him. He was from the youth team at Man United. And at that time, you used to think, well, when Man U were getting rid of young players, it wasn't because, you know, it was because to Ferguson, they weren't good enough for his side. So you sort of thought, right, okay, then Keith Gillespie, let's see what he does. But I'll tell you what, one hell of a right winger he was. And you look at that and you think, did Man U really make a big error there when they got rid of Keith Gillespie? Because he was absolutely fantastic. I mean, you know, when you think they had that best foursome in the Premier League, Ginola on one side, Gillespie on the other, and then you had Sheeran Ferdinand in the middle. I mean, that's a striker's dream when you've got two wingers like that who can cross the ball. And I mean, you know, in that Champions League as well, I mean, against Barcelona, Gillespie was rampant. He set a spear up twice, didn't he? So, yeah, I mean, fantastic crosser of the ball, fantastic right winger with a lot of pace as well, John. So, yeah, Keith Gillespie gets my vote as my right winger, and you're going for Solano.
Yeah. He still plays football now. He still plays for FC Manuel. Gillespie.
Does he?
47. I don't know if it's true, but he still play. And I'll tell you what as well, right? I mean, a guy is simply brilliant, and he's still got it. And do you know what it is, right? I mean, with Gillespie as well, he's quick. I didn't know a lot about this guy. I didn't know a lot about him, but he was on that pitch. My God, he was superb.
Yeah. Foxy says Nobby all day, every day. Yeah. I mean, like I say, picking a team, I was pretty much, you know, it's a hard one. Night of Knee Gaming, Solano all day. I like coffee, Solano as well. Gary says Man City are 1-0 down.
Sevilla.
Oh dear. Alan says Solano right wing. And Ross says, Biazzi, hear me, I've got to get him in that side, but got so many strikers to get in also. Pedro, skillful and versatile, he could play in that position brilliantly, in my opinion. Yeah, Pedro was one hell of a player, wasn't he? What a great player he was. Foxy in the Prem, Solano, 49 goals, 62 assists. Gillespie, 17 goals, 25 assists. Great. Both great, but Nobby did it over a longer period. Yeah, that's absolutely true, yeah.
True.
Absolutely. And Gary says Chelsea are 2-1 up at the moment. Right, John. So we've done that. So we're now going into the middle of the field. So who's your first of your central midfielders?
Good question. For me, I'm going to say David Batty, because you need an enforcer in the midfield. You need someone's going to break up the play. You need someone's going to tackle in the midfield and get stuck in, get in their faces. That guy is perfect in that role. David Batty, right? I mean, simply brilliant. And what can I say? I mean, he's just an all-action player.
Yeah. I've got Batty in my midfield as well, John. I mean, you know, strong player, a terrier-like player, but, you know, one who could break up the play and get the ball going again. And he was a tremendous signing for us. And yeah, absolutely outstanding. Yeah, so David Batty gets my vote. So who's your next one, John?
I'm gonna say this is gonna be an interesting one for me. There's another one's gonna be so tough, man. It's absolutely tough. If you talk about it now, why not Bruno Gamache? Can I choose him?
Of course you can, John. You can have whoever you want in your 11. There's that man on the screen
why
now.
not him? I could say Rob Lee, fantastic. Gary Speed, fantastic. Right? You know, why not Bruno? I mean, Bruno could sway the ball about, and Batty can mop up the play, break up the play. Do you know what I mean? So why not Bruno?
Yeah. Good shout, John. Good shout. But for me, in my midfield, I haven't gone with Bruno. I've gone with the Welsh wizard himself, Gary Speed. I mean, you know, he first came to the club a little bit quiet, but after that, he got in, you know, and he just went to a different role in midfield. And I'll tell you what, what a great player he was. I mean, the late Gary Speed now, as it sadly is,
Yeah.
but what a fantastic player he was. I mean, he used to arrive late in the box and get on the end of a corner of a ball, you know. I mean, he used to time them runs to perfection, you know. And he was always well renowned for running late into the box to get on the end of a ball. But, you know, the guy was absolutely fantastic. And, you know, always remember when he got his Player of the Month award, and he stood there with Bobby Robson as well. But yeah, I mean, yeah, a great player. And I thought it was a toss up between him and Bruno, but I thought, no, Gary Speed gets my vote. I really like Gary Speed. I thought he was excellent. So it's Gary Speed for me. I'll just delve into a few comments, see what other people have come to say. Night and 8 gaming. I'm also Speed and Batty for me. Yeah, I've got Speed in my team as well. Alan says Gaza. Yeah, good shout. Ross says Robley has been fantastic for us. Yeah, again, Ross, it's hard to decide which you want in for your teams.
It is, isn't it?
Foxy says, surprised David Batty's rated so highly. Never forgive him versus Forrest for the mistake that led to the one goal.
Yeah, I can remember that.
Yeah, I remember that one. Bruno, says Alan. Ross says, and then Gaza, greatest player England ever produced. Bruno will be there eventually, though. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gaza was one hell of a talent, wasn't he? And I mean, I always say Gaza should have gone to Man United over Spurs, because if Alex
100%.
Ferguson had got a hold of him, he would never have gone to the lengths that he had gone to, where he's drinking got the better of him. Ferguson would have curbed all that and he would have stopped it all. So, but the guy still had a fantastic career and one hell of a talent. Ross says, I was never a huge fan of Speed or Batty, to be honest. Yeah, we've all got our opinions on different. This is what it's all about, you know. Everybody interacting, and we'll get, you know. Foxy says Speed and Lee just for what they did. Can't pick Bruno because if he retires right now, he wouldn't make the best team ever. If he plays another 1 or 2 like he has, then easy makes it. Yeah, absolutely, Foxy.
Okay.
I like Coffee. Picking midfielders are so hard. Bruno, Joe Linton, Ben Arfa, Prime Tiote, Prime Cabai. Yeah, absolutely.
Cabai, what a player. What a baller.
Yeah.
What a baller.
Right, John. So, and also just going on with Gary Speed, not only played central midfield, but he could also play out on the left wing as well.
He can.
Because in his Leeds days, he played as left winger, didn't he?
He did.
So,
and he's quite good at that as well.
Yeah. Right, John. Who have you got for your left winger?
I could name it by 50. 5-0. For me, he could play Ben Arfa there. He could play Robert there. For me, you can't have a debate on this one. I've got to go with David Ginola.
Yeah.
Because this guy, he absolutely dazzles, right? He's so skillful. You don't know what he's gonna do next half the time. Do you know what I mean? He is so brilliant. He really is. And scored some cracking goals. Again, scored one against United. And this guy, he is so skillful. He just get the fans at the edge of their seats. But he has some cracking players as well on the left side. Laurent Robert as well. Hudson Ben Arfa can play there as well. Do you know what I mean? But we have some cracking players there. But there's no debate. It's going to have to be this guy.
That's your choice, John. Well, I've gone totally different to what you've gone to. And I've gone with another Frenchman in the name of Laurent Robert. I mean,
Good choice, yeah.
I like Ginola, don't get me wrong. I thought he was a great player. But I thought Robert was brilliant as well. I mean, what a left foot this guy had. He had a wonder of a left foot. If he hit a ball, it stayed hit. This guy scored some cracking goals. I mean, that free kick against Man United in the 4-3 win, St. James's Park, when Keane got sent off for fighting with Shearer. This guy, I just think he was brilliant. I mean, yes, he did go missing in games, and yes, he didn't really track back a lot, to help out in defence. But when he drove forward, he could hit a ball from anywhere on the park, and it would, and it would be on target, whether the keeper gets near it or not. But some of the goals this guy scored. I mean, I remember when he scored against Arsenal, a 3-1 win as well. When he rounded Stuart Taylor. But yeah, this guy is, to me, he had to be. It was hard between him and Ginola who to put on the left wing. So I've had to go with him as my left winger, John. But
yeah, fair enough.
But we've both gone for Frenchmen's on the left side.
Yeah.
And I'll just go into some comments here, John, as well. Yeah. Night and knee game, and Ribeiro, Ginola, left side, can't choose between them. Absolutely. It's so hard. Ross says, Ginola, no debate needed. Yeah, that's fair enough. You go siding with John. Foxy says, would love the club to do something in recognition of Tiote. Maybe name Port the new training ground after him. Absolutely, Foxy. And that,
absolutely.
In some ways, what I do think is when Cheick Tiote sadly did pass away, I thought the club might have actually retired the number 24 shirt that he did wear, because when you look at Man City, they did that with Marc-Vivien Foé when he died playing for Cameroon, I think it was. And they retired the number 23 shirt, and that's no longer in use. Miguel Almiron's wearing that 24 shirt with pride, isn't he? And I'm sure Tiote's looking down at him thinking, you've got my number. But yeah, it would be nice if the club did something like that for Tiote, because, that guy was a good player, really was a good player, and an absolute bargain for what we got him for. But I totally agree with you on that one, Foxy. Alan says, Chris Waddle left wing. Yeah, Waddle, another great left winger that, the club sold in the 80s when we were a selling club under the likes of McKeague and Stan Seymour in charge. Night and day game, and Sheeran Milburn up front. No competition there. Chooses itself. Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you on that one. Foxy says, in terms of talent, Sarah Ribeiro, Ginola, in terms of longevity, what he went through on and off the pitch and how poorly he was treated, I'd pick Jonas. Yeah, absolutely.
I'll tell you what, I'll put him down as well.
Jonas, yeah, he was disgraceful by the club, and when he scored that goal against West Ham, that kept us up. And his celebration in front of Mike Ashley, it was rightly done, To be told by Lee Chorley over a text message, it wasn't. It was Ryan Taylor had getting a phone call, and he'd passed the phone over to say that you're not getting a new contract. Why don't you do something like that in person? Don't do it over the phone. That's a cheap way out. I'm sorry. And
lacking class, man. Lacking class.
Shame on Ashley and Chorley, Penfold. But yeah, they've long gone now. But yeah, Jonas is always going to be a legend in every single way. And that guy came through cancer and got back on that football pitch. What a great player he was, and he always ran his heart out. Night and game. Adam Pugh bought Tiote's son a shirt when he met him, and if I'm remembering that, I'm wrong. I'm not too sure on that one, but if he did, that's a really nice touch. Because his son still goes to the matches, I think, so goes there quite often, and I think they sit in the director's box, if I remember. And Ross says, strikers are almost impossible to pick. We've had some sort of talent up front. Absolutely, we've had a lot up front. Right, John. So, we're now going into the striking department. So, who's your first striker out your front two?
It'd be striker, corner, attack midfielder for me, if that's Sarri's. Peter Beardsley. Absolutely. And Peter
You're going for Beardsley.
110%. I met the guy. He's a legend. I don't call him Peter. I call him legend. But that guy is absolutely amazing what he does. He's quick, skillful. He loves a lot of people. He dribble. Do you know what it is, right? If Peter Beardsley's playing today, right, under this new ownership, right, we'd be top four. Nailed on, because this guy will be everything, right? How much he'd be worth today? It'd be a hell of a lot of money. It'd be a hell of a lot of money today. They can't even afford him. That even Man City would be able to afford him. You know what I mean? In fact, we're not sent to a big six. No way. Right? He is an abs in 2 spells, right? At Newcastle United, 2 spells. He's been magnificent. Magnificent.
Yeah, I mean that's that's a good shout, that one, John, isn't it? I mean, you've gone with this guy. I've got to put him on screen now. So I haven't got his picture there, but put him up there now. So you've gone with that guy, Mr. Beardsley.
Mr. Beardsley. No doubt about it. This guy, he's a Newcastle legend, Geordie legend. We love him, right? Forget what he did outside of football, right? Okay, cool. But this guy, he's well loved there. They're going to love him. And I tell you something now, right? Would it be another playing Peter Beardsley? I hope so, but I just don't think I can touch him. No one can touch this guy.
I mean, the thing is, John, sometimes I say well, players never go back, but Beardsley was one of them one-offs that went back and still done it second time round. So, and there isn't many players who can go back to their old clubs and still do it. But Beardsley can still do it.
Absolutely. He came back to us when he was, 32, 33, when he came back second time. And we pay, why would you pay 1.5 mil? That's got to be the best 1.5 we have spent in the history of the Premier League all day long. That guy, my baller.
I mean, my strikers, the first one I've got, and as I say, I've seen the guy in videos playing, but I've never actually seen him live because I was never ever born when he was around. So well before my time. But the ex-record goal scorer at the club, and that is Jackie Milburn. I mean, what a legend this guy was, At the time, he scored the fastest goal in an FA Cup final in 1955 v Man City. But in 1987, Di Matteo for Chelsea against Middlesbrough broke that record for the fastest FA Cup final goal. But when you think that record had been held from 55 to 97 as the fastest goal, and when you think Man City at the time in 55 had some good players, they had the great Bert Trautmann in goal. So, one of the best German keepers they've ever had in Germany. But yeah, this guy was absolutely brilliant. He was a proper goal scorer, this guy. And, I remember when he died and everything, and, everybody turned out for his funeral and the whole place was packed out. But as I say, he was before my time, before I was born, and before your time as well, John. But when you look into history and you watch videos and things like that, and you see that we absolutely brilliant. So this guy is one of my strikers up front, John. I've got to go with Jackie Milburn.
Fair enough.
Just going to some comments.
Way back in my time, but he has been superb. Whoever watched him, and I looked at the history of this guy. Looks amazing.
Remember the ex-Ecuador player for Birmingham City, Chucho Benitez? He sadly passed away at 27 in his city of Guayaquil. They named the new stadium after him for Guayaquil City, Estadio Christian Benitez. Yeah, I vaguely remember him. Do you, John?
He had stomach pains, did he, if I remember rightly. And he's only young, 27 he was. He's on loan at Birmingham. And he had complications there, if I remember correctly. And he sadly passed away after that. Married to a young wife. And sad, very, very sad. 22 years old. That is no age for this guy. He's a goal machine back in his native South America. Played for Birmingham for a season on loan and didn't score many goals, unfortunately. But look, at the end of the day, right, God rest in peace, Christian, man. Sad.
Alan says, yeah, absolutely. Alan says Beardsley. Yeah. Foxy says, Colin Shearer. Don't like leaving my hero Tino out, but Les would probably be third choice ahead of him as well. Yeah, absolutely. And Ross says, Shearer and Cole for me. Al best ever. Cole was a machine. Pedro already in midfield. Always forms. gutting to leave Sir Les out. Milburn and Supermac way before my time, so can't include them. They were way before my time, but I just thought Jackie Milburn had to be in there. You know, right, John. So who's your next striker alongside your other striker? Who did you say it was? Biazzi, did you say?
I said Beardsley and
Yeah,
Lewis and
yeah.
Shearer Hardaway.
Sure.
This guy is a record goal scorer. He's joined us 50 million quid record. It was a world record sign at the time. This guy's just a goal machine. He's paced, he's quick, and he is just a goal machine. And let me tell you something, right? I mean, we had that long-term injury sort of thing, right? Everyone says we're all going to be the same striker. Believe you me, he missed about half the season, and he's still banging 20-plus goals last season, let's be real. But when he's turned about 30, he wasn't as quick. It's lower like a target man holding the ball up and bringing people to play, but he's still doing the business, man. I mean, look, Alan Shearer's going to be a legend, right, in my era. He's 266 goals, something like that. I don't know if that's going to be broken, but I tell you something, right? For me, he's one of the greatest ever striker to don a black and white shirt. I know people's going to say Malcolm McDonald, people's going to say Hughie Gallagher, people's going to say Jackie Milburn, but this guy clips the lot of them. That guy is a world-class player and forever be a legend, Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely, John. I mean, he's a May team as well. I mean, you know, the guy just was class, didn't he? You know, great striker, great goal scorer, not just a striker, a goal scorer. Great captain of the club as well. Badly treated at the time by Rudd Hullet. You know, where him and Ferguson were sat on the bench against Sunderland and they played a young Paul Robinson up front. You know, I saw an interview with Duncan Ferguson and they asked him about that, why you were on the bench. And he says, well, the day before the game, he says, him and Shearer, they were training. He says, and they were given bibs. And he says, we thought, well, why are we being given bibs for? And they said, oh, Rudd Hullet says you got to wear them. So Duncan Ferguson said to Shearer, he says, we're going to wear these bibs. He says, you know what that means, don't you? He says, we're on the bench tomorrow, we're not playing. And Shearer says, that can't be right. And Duncan Ferguson says, no, we're on the bench. Why have we got bibs? Why is everybody else training without bibs? And we're the ones with the people training who's got bibs on. And then sure enough, when the team sheet was announced, Shearer said to Duncan, he says, yeah, you got that one right, didn't you? He says, yeah, we're both on the bench. What's going on here? And obviously the next morning, Rudd Hullet left because Freddie Shepherd, I saw an interview with Freddie Shepherd, and he said when Rudd Hullet came into the office the next morning, he said, Freddie Shepherd says, I was about to sack him after the result and leaving Shearer and Duncan Ferguson on the bench. He says, Rudd Hullet walked in and he just said, before you say anything to me, he says, I'm handing my notice and I'm resigning now as immediate effect. And Freddie Shepherd thought, phew, thank God I didn't open my mouth because I've just saved myself some money. But Shearer, great striker, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, just as quickly, I was wrong, I said 266, 206 goals, not 266. Yeah. Thank you, Gary. But back to Rudd Hullet, I thought he had to the class, dignity, and he done the right thing for me because I think he wanted the sack because he didn't really want to be at Newcastle United, right? And do you know what it is, right? I mean, he'd rather be in London. And
yeah.
And he also said as well about the city as well. He says Derby region. He didn't understand what the derby means up there. He didn't know. He just thought it was another game. You don't say that. You just don't ever say that. Even Chris Hughton will tell you the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was another thing Freddie Shepherd said in his interview as well. He said, he said when he was coming up with stuff in the press conference, like, it's not a derby of the city, it's a derby of the region because Milan's a derby of the city. And Freddie Shepherd says, I was sat there thinking, what is he doing? What's he talking about? Does he know what he's actually talking about? And obviously, that night we got beat. If I remember, I think it was Phillips and Quinn who scored. And absolutely awful. And so pleased he went the next day. And the rest is history after that. Gary says, what about Supermark? Alan says, Supermark's second striker. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's really, really tough to pick these players.
Tough.
Gary says 206 goals, John. Yeah, I mean, you could pick 3 or 4 different teams, or even up to 6 or 7 different teams. You know, there's that many. Sunderland 1-0 up, says Gary. Oh, come on, Huddersfield. Yeah. You can do it. Night and day game in Sir Bobby manager choice. Yeah. Foxy says Hullett was an awful, arrogant manager. I remember him actually playing in the pre-season game that season. Was always all about him. Yeah, he supposed he was going to come in and play all this sexy football, wasn't he? You know, Keegan manager, the entertainers. Yeah, the entertainers were a dream to watch. Best time of my football life those days, absolutely. So Bobby Class too, obviously. Hopefully, Eddie makes the list one day too. I'm sure Eddie Howe will, Ross. I mean, you know, I think, do you know what it is, though, John? And like Ross is saying about Eddie Howe, I think a lot of Premier League clubs now are going to be looking and thinking, do you know what? I wish we had took a punt on Eddie Howe now. Because they're now seeing, and now that Eddie Howe's in a club that's got money as well, he's shown it even better how well he can manage players and bigger players. And that's no disrespect to what he had at Bournemouth. But when you've got players with a stature of like Bruno, you know, Kieran Trippier, I know Trippier has played under him before when he was at Burnley, but that's totally different. But when you're handling big players and the likes of Botman, then to manage them players, you've got to be a very good manager yourself. And Eddie Howe's proven that. Even Bruno has said Eddie Howe is a brilliant guy. You know, Bruno can't say enough praise about Eddie Howe. So I think now, if Eddie Howe's doing so well for us, as well as he's doing, I'm just I know we will be able to keep him because that's not a problem. He's going nowhere. We're not a selling club. We won't get rid of managers willy-nilly. But if a top like Big Six decide to let go of their manager, they're going to look at Eddie Howe. But he's going nowhere.
Absolutely no chance. I mean, he signed a long-term contract with us, yeah. He loves Newcastle United. You could tell that he's got a passion for the club. And what he's done is absolutely incredible. He's done a fantastic job, you know, getting these players to play for him, the style he wants to play. And you can see on the pitch, it's so exciting to watch, yeah. I know it's going to take time, but it's so exciting to watch. We're defending properly. We're controlling midfield. And up front, you got Callum Wilson, ASM, and Miggy as well. I'll tell you something now, right? I mean, I know Oliver Holtz is going to kind of stand as Eddie Howe. He cannot stand him now because he's gone to Newcastle. But who cares? But Eddie Howe is going to get us a trophy. I think we're going to go all the way this season. The more I think about it, the more I think you're going to actually do it. I think you're going to go top 4 this season. I really, really do. Look at Liverpool. They're 8 points behind us, right? It's just ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. He sounds ridiculous as well, Eddie Howe. Do you know what I mean? And he just said there, club's going to be looking at him. I tell you something, they got no chance of getting Eddie Howe because he is the next big thing, right? And he's going to win us trophies. England, forget him, right? Man City, United, Liverpool, forget him. Do you know what I mean? Because I'll bet you, if Jurgen Klopp decides to go at the end of the season, I think Liverpool are going to look at Eddie Howe. I think they're going to make us an offer we cannot refuse. And whoever gets Eddie Howe, I don't know what his compensation package is, but I tell you something, it'll be a lot of money. It'll be a world record to price this guy away because he is going to be awesome. And another thing is, right, I'm looking at Tim Ross's comment, by the way, right, saying that could we lose Eddie to England if Southgate has a poor World Cup? I hope not. I hope that's the case there, Ross, because there's no way Eddie Howe is going to go to England yet. But if he does go to England, it's the pinnacle. I wish him well. But whoever comes in after Eddie Howe has to be much better than Eddie Howe. Much better. but I hope we keep Eddie for the next 10 years because he's going to get us a title. Within 3 years, 4 years, he'll get us a title because the better player's going to come to Newcastle United.
Absolutely, John. I mean, he did say, Eddie Howe, when he was asked this question a couple of weeks ago about the England job, he said, look, one, Gareth Southgate's doing a tremendous job as an England manager, which obviously he's not going to say nothing worse than that.
Nah.
But he also said, I prefer doing the day-to-day business at the club, he says, and I love the day-to-day training. With England, you don't get that. So, to me, that tells you that Eddie Howe does not want the England job. And I think he might say maybe well down the line, take it maybe. But at the moment, he prefers the day-to-day, being on the training ground with all the players and getting them sorted out. With England, it might be 6 months before you're playing a game, and he doesn't want to be sitting around or going around grounds watching players for 6 months and then having to do his team. So I'm not worried about England, John, at the minute. I couldn't, if England get rid of Southgate, then there's only two managers, in my opinion, who could take on that job. One is Pochettino. I know he's Argentinian, the same as Marcelo Bielsa. Bielsa, I think, would be a good England manager because he'd play attacking football and would see some actual attacking play on the pitch. So, yeah, but I don't want Eddie Howe taking it, and that's why I'm putting them two in the frame. Yeah, 99 Gaming says to credit Eddie the way the team talk about him, and after reading what he's implemented with the team, he's grown that togetherness. It's a joy. He'll make a legend. This calling it now. Yeah, absolutely, totally agree with you, mate. Absolutely.
Agree.
I like coffee. Imagine 3 teams playing each other. One man by Sir Bobby, one Keegan, one Eddie, and they plead each other, and no player can be repeating each team. Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
If Eddie goes to England, it will disturb the unity our team has been building. He'll not go to England, I'll tell you that now. Not a chance.
Not a chance.
I like Coffee goes on to say players may want to leave if another manager come in. Yeah, I don't think Eddie's going, to be honest with you. I think the club would put a huge compensation clause on him. Foxy says Facundo Buonanotte. I don't know how you pronounce it. All right.
That means in English, it's good night.
Yeah. Even losing Ashworth hasn't stopped the great business they do. Watch out for him soon. Only 17. Wow. And Foxy knows all about players like this. So, yeah. And Alan says, Eddie in capitals, not for sale. Absolutely, Alan. We're not a selling club no more. Definitely right, John. Not. So we've done the first 11. So we're now going to delve into our substitutes. We're 9 subs. So who's your reserve goalkeeper?
Oh, okay. Reserve keeper. Not John Correlsi. Definitely not him. Pavel Sunacek. He was shocking, wasn't he? Let's be real. There's only one. Pav, big Pav. I met him a couple of times. Great guy. He started poorly and under our dealers, but when Keegan came in, he was much, much better. It goes to show you need someone to put arm around your shoulder and build them up, big them up, by the way. And this guy is absolutely brilliant for Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely, John. He's my reserve goalkeeper as well. I mean, it was hard between him and Shea, given who to put in to the first 11. Shea just pipped him, but yeah, I mean, I remember when he first came, John, and I stand in the Gallagher in the corner out in the Milburn paddock, and I just think, this guy, he kind of catch a ball to save his life. You know, it was like, oh, and he was dropping that many clangers game after, you know, and you were like, and but Keegan come in, and all of a sudden he just started playing even better, and then it was like, hang on a minute, this is like a different keeper we've got here now, and it just showed you a bit of confidence. And but under our dealies, we didn't really have that confidence. He played too many kids, and that's why we were struggling where we were. And I never really liked our dealies, to be fair. But yeah, but Pavel Sunacek, what a goalkeeper. I mean, he made some terrific saves as well. And yeah, Pavel, without a doubt, gets my vote as a substitute keeper as well. I mean, Yeah, absolutely fantastic he was. Just see what the comments are. I like Coffee John's pronunciations are impeccable, especially as Italian.
I see a little bit of the Italian sort of thing as well, a little bit like, not a lot, but I mean, Italian football means calcio, and which is true. And for that one, buonanotte, if you separate the word buonanotte, right, separate the two
Yeah.
words, means good night.
See, you learn something new every day.
Right.
Alan says, Pope goalkeeper for reserve. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of good goalkeepers. We've had Martin Thomas, Kevin Carr, Gary Kelly. The list, goes on. He says, I struggle to say Buonanotte. So there you go. I like coffee. Right, John. So who's your next substitute? Who's your next substitute then?
Is it 5 subs, yeah?
9.
Oh, it's 9, is it? Okay.
9 subs.
Okay. I'll go with Steve Watson.
You're going with Steve Watson.
Steve Watson, yeah.
Right. He's not on my subs list.
Nope, that's fine.
Yeah, and you're going with Steve Watson for
right back.
Yeah.
Because
do you remember when he got booked for that throwing he done?
Yeah. I'm shocking, man. I can't go with that. Where is the banter now, referees? We used to have them, but not anymore.
I thought that was a great bit of skill to do that, though, to keep the ball in your hands and do a forward roll and then come back up and throw the ball. I mean, it's not like it's it's a good skill to have, isn't it?
I know you got to do it. He does it in training all the time. They put in the practice, and it comes off for you. Cool. That is just a bit of a party trick as well on the pitch sort of thing. Because players who want to be entertained, right? And Steve Watson wanted to be entertaining, and he's done that. But unfortunately, if he got booked for that, that's shocking. That's poor form.
Yeah, he did, John. He got a yellow card for it. Yeah.
I thought that's shocking.
So what was your thoughts on Steve Watson anyway, John?
I like him. I mean, look, he's on the right back that defends properly. I mean, he's kind of going forward. He gets the odd goal there and then. And he can play in so many positions as well. He can play in midfield, he can play at the back, he can play out front. I like him. I do like him. And I'll have him for his versatility.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. My substitute is this guy, Warren Barton. I mean, it was a difficult one. I would have had him in at me right back, but I thought Trippier just edged it on him. So I've gone Warren Barton. He was a good right back. I liked Warren Barton. One of my favourites. And yeah, great right back. And yeah, just sorry that Mr. Trippier got ahead of you, but yeah, still, he was a great right back we got from Wimbledon, and at the time I think 4 million. I think that was a record fee for a defender as well. So when you think back then £4 million now you think, well, £4 million wouldn't get you a championship player, would it, as such? But yeah. He was a good player, Warren Barton. I really liked him, and yeah, so he's my substitute there.
Cracking player.
Alan says Bob Moncur, defender. Yeah, great defender Moncur wasn't he?
Beautiful.
And I like Coffee subkeeper. We've got too many. Harback, Kroll, Pope. Yeah, absolutely. Right, John. Who's your next substitute then?
For me, I'll go with again. I'm going to go with Jonathan Woodgate because I chose Botman over Woodgate, so I'm going to go with Jonathan Woodgate. Proper defender. Yes, he gets a lot of injuries, but listen, at the end of the day, he's a proper defender, and he definitely gets in. Defends properly.
Yeah,
you read the game, brilliant.
Yeah, he's amongst my subs as well, John, in that picture there against Drogba. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was a great defender, John. It was just a shame for his injury record. If he didn't get injured as much, then I think, we could have kept him. But, at the time, I think the money from Real Madrid and, so I think that's what. But at the end of the day, he did well for while he was here. And as I say, if it wasn't for his injury record, he would have been absolutely fantastic,
He would
been
have
one of
been
the best in the world.
He would have been a world star. He would have been a world star. But we tried to get him back from Madrid. But obviously, he knew what was going on with Ashley, and that's why he went to Tottenham. And Keegan was absolutely furious that he didn't get all kids.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I Like Coffee says, don't forget like and subscribe, guys. Thank you very much, I Like Coffee. So Woodgate gets the vote on that one. Right. I'll go into my next substitute, and this guy did well at Newcastle for as long as we had him. Was the last person to score now win against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Was ridiculed by JFK, Joe Kinnear.
Yes.
When he says, so the player I'm picking up here is Johan Cabaye, or as Joe Kinnear renamed him, Johan Kebab. That guy was an absolute joke of a manager. Couldn't stand the bloke. And best thing the club done was, when he had to retire, and that was the best thing that ever happened there. But Johan Cabaye, we got him for a steal from Lille. I think 4.3 million it was at the time. And I remember that fantastic free kick against Man United at St. James's Park. I was there that night on a Wednesday night, absolutely brilliant. He was a great midfielder, done really well for us, then went off to PSG. But yeah, I really liked Cabaye, one of my favourites in midfield. Just a shame we had the wrong owner at the time, but yeah, what a midfielder. Your thoughts, John, on this guy?
He is an absolute baller, this guy. I mean, look, at the end of the day, he's got everything. He's got the skill, he's got a passing ability. That game against Stoke, I think it's back in 2012, I could be wrong, right? We finished fifth that season. That pass to Cisse was worth that mission fee alone. That is the pass of the season for me. And this guy, he's got a shot on him as well. He's got a lovely right foot as well. Takes shots as well. He is superb. And you're right. Joined Newcastle with the wrong owner. If he joined Newcastle with these owners today, with him, Bruno, Jordan, that midfield would be complete.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was an outstanding player.
Yeah, outstanding.
I mean, I Like Coffee says, didn't Woodgate score an own goal and get sent off on his Madrid debut?
He did.
I think he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But when you got an own goal, the fans do not boo him at all whatsoever. They do like Jonathan Woodgate because they know that he's a trier. Do you know what I mean?
Alan says Glenn Roeder. Yeah, another great centre-half and a good manager for us as well. I Like Coffee says Joe Kinnear, more like Joe Kinnear. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the bloke was an idiot when he saw. Right. Who have you got next for a sub, John, then?
Gary Speed.
Gary Speed, okay.
What you said earlier on. So for me, Gary Speed, 100%. I mean, makes late runs from midfield, scores and goals, especially from free kicks as well. He works hard in midfield. And you know what? I'm glad he got injured for the last 6, 7 or 8 games back in 2001-2 season, because he was a pivotal in that team as well. If he stayed fit, I think he would come very close to winning the title. But losing him, right, I think that might have just cost us the title. It really did, because everyone's saying like Shearer and Bellamy getting the goals and Rob Ayres being fantastic. Nobby Solano outstanding on the wing. But Gary Speed holds everything together in the midfield. And I'll tell you something, we lost him at a bad time and it cost us the title.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, he was a great player, but he was in my first 11, so that's your sub.
Yeah.
So my next substitute, um,
Mm.
another good player. I mean, this guy, um, I mean, what a Liverpudlian, Scouser. Um, I mean, was sick to death of him scoring against us. I went down on a Boxing Day to Wigan and we lost. And this player scored a free kick against us, and he's do time and time again. And Trippier's just took over the mantle of the wall from him. But this guy, hero, I mean, that goal he scored against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, back in 2010 or 2011. I mean, what a goal that was. I mean, from where he struck it as well. I mean, you could see Mignolet's positioning was very poor from a goalkeeper. And then, we saw the Stephen Taylor celebration in front of the Mackem fans, just to wind them up even more because he used to love doing that, Stephen Taylor. So on my bench, I've got Ryan Taylor. I mean, we done a swap deal where and Zogbia, another player, ridiculed by. That's the reason he left. Well, one of the reasons because he was ridiculed on TV by Joe Kinnear again when he called him Charles Insomnia. It was embarrassing, that guy being manager in Newcastle, if I'm honest, John. But yeah, this guy, Ryan Taylor, came in, done the business, scored some cracking free kicks. Ryan Taylor over the wall, I liked him. I really did like him.
I do as
and,
well.
He, I mean, that goal he scored against Everton as well, that was a cracking goal. But yeah, this guy was a wholehearted player, and I really did like him. What were your thoughts on Ryan Taylor, John?
I do as well. I like him as well. He works hard for the team. He's a lovely cross the ball. If he plays a right back, he can cross the ball. Everything you said there, Tony, I was going to back up on that. Score some cracking free kick goals as well, and score some pearlers as well. And he works hard for the team. I like him, and he's a leader.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Absolutely. So who's your next substitute then, John?
The last of those guys, speed. I'm going to go with Rob Lee. So
Rob
he's going to
Lee.
come on. Again, he makes his late runs to midfield, and he is skillful as well, on the right side of midfield, but better off in central mid. He could play in the midfield, he could play as an attacking midfielder. And I tell you what, when he goes past you, you are done. You are done because he's quite quick as well. And he's got eye for goals, got some cracking goals as well. That goal against United was put us 2-1 up. I know it's a Bartes mistake, but look, at the end of the day, he is going to be a legend, Rob Lee, every single time. You mentioned Rob Lee, that guy is brilliant. How much did it cost? 750,000? Only
700,000.
Oh, 700,000, sorry. But he was toured that, did he say his tour that Middlesbrough was there in London? And he then come to us.
Well, what it was, he was at Charlton, and then obviously Middlesbrough wanted him because the manager at Middlesbrough was Lenny Lawrence, who used to be manager of Charlton Athletic.
Yeah.
And Lenny Lawrence was close to getting him. And but then Rob Lee backed out because he says, it's too far from London. So he says, I don't want to be that far away. So Keegan got in and spoke to him. And Rob Lee says, he says, should I come here? And Keegan says, well, if you come here, we're closer to London than Middlesbrough. And Rob Lee believed him. And Keegan totally bamboozled him. But I'll tell you what, Rob Lee's a legend, and he absolutely loved it up here. Was under Hullet, wasn't it, when he didn't have a squad number? Bobby came into the club, so Bobby Robson, and gave him the number 37. He was disgracefully pushed to one side by Rudd Hullet. But yeah, what a player this guy was. And £700,000 is an absolute bargain. You know, it's nothing
Absolutely.
really when you think about it. But yeah, Rob Lee, yeah, certainly, John. So the next player in my team is a substitute, John, and I've got a striker in here. And again, unlucky for him not to be included in my first squad, but I did go for Jackie Milburn. I'll just go through a couple of comments first. Gary Speed, midfield, yeah, absolutely. Well said, Alan. And he says Tony Green, attacking midfield. Like, yeah, again, I don't remember a lot about him. I think before my time, maybe, or when I was in the 70s born. Some of these old Newcastle shirts are so beautiful. Yes, they are, aren't they? And he says, we need Adidas back, Ali Coffee. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Absolutely, mate. So my next one, I had to put a striker on the bench because obviously you do need a striking option on the bench. So I've gone with this man. Enter Sir Les Ferdinand. I mean, you know, him and Shearer, you know, what a cracking partnership they had. Was it Dalglish that sold him? And then Shearer got the injury, if I remember. And then Dalglish said to him, "Don't go to Spurs, stay with us." And he said, "Well, no, I'm good. I've given me word. I've already told Spurs I'm coming, so I'm not changing my mind." You know, such a shame to lose him because what a striker this guy was. We got him from QPR, and the amount of goals he scored, and he was fantastic. Him and Shearer, like I say, had a great partnership up front. Should never have been split up, really. But regardless, the guy's still a legend in our eyes. Your thoughts, John, on Sir Les?
Everything you said there, man. I mean, this guy scores, and he's got pace to burn. He's quick, hard to knock off. That goal against QPR, for example, when they play QPR out of the corner, and then I don't know who's. I think it might have been Barton who's played the forward, one of them, or maybe Dan Peacock, and then the whole pace is like 10 yards behind the centre halves, and he still caught up with them, right? What a goal that was! Like pace and pace there. But Loveless Ferdinand, he is goals, man. And he's a baller. Absolutely superb, a legend. And I couldn't believe when Dalglish sold him, by the way. I could not believe my eyes. And for me, he should have been sacked just for that. Joke. But Les Ferdinand, what a player, what a legend. And you know what? He's in Jordy Fogler here.
He is, absolutely, John. I mean, 98 Gaiman says Ferdinand and Cole as my subs. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's too close to call these players, isn't it? You know. So who's your next sub, John?
And just I've got to go with Laurent Robert because look, I like Laurent Robert. I think he's superb. He's class. Free kicks is superb. He's got he just said earlier on. He's got a left foot like a bullet, right? Look, people say it's going to be lazy, right? He doesn't track back a lot, but one thing I will say, when he does get that ball, you don't know what's going to happen. And he cracks him left foot, free kicks, he shoots from 40 yards. The two best goals I've seen of him was against Spurs. The first goal on the half volley, brilliant. The second goal, 2 touches, bang, top corner. 2 class goals. What a mercurial Frenchman. That guy, brilliant.
Yeah, he was, John. I mean, I had him in my first 11. In that picture there, that's where he scored against Fulham. And he was celebrating his goal, and Shearer's coming in behind him there. But yeah, he was a class player on his day, John. And yeah, shame when he went, but you know, players do move on eventually. But yeah, he was a great player. So,
amazing.
So yeah, absolutely. So I think we're up to 8 now, aren't we, subs? So this will be my last one. And that is David Ginola, who I've got on the bench. Because I had Laurent Robert in my first 11. But David Ginola, not a bad backup to bring off the bench, you know. So if you need that extra bit of, you know, creativity, Ginola off the bench. So yeah, Ginola is my final substitution on the bench. Yeah, there's nothing more I can say about this guy apart from being absolutely class. And it was just one of those. It was a hard choice. Do I put him in or Robert? And it was like, no, I've got to go Robert. But yeah. And who's your final substitute, John?
I'm going to leave the best one to last. I'm going to go with Jonas Gutierrez. I could have said Andy Cole, but we've got enough strikers there. We've got Shiva Ferdinand, two fantastic strikers there. Beardsley as well. I'll go with Jonas Gutierrez. And look, it's hard. His work for the team is amazing. He's got pace. And do you know what it is, right? He's just a leader. And what are you going to get at Jonas, right? Yes, he can be over elaborating at times. Yes, he does like to fall down easily, but my God, this guy, when he's on it, he is on it. That goal against West Ham, this foul game for Newcastle, brought a tear to my eye. And the way, like you said, he got treated by Ashley and Charnley by a text message where he's got cancer. It's an utter disgrace.
There he is, Spider-Man himself.
Yes. He got booked as well, did he, for doing that?
Yeah, I mean, it was, but when he used to pull that on, that Spider-Man mask, everybody used to love it, because it was what he'd done when he was in Spain, didn't he? So it was trademark what he was doing, and but the guy was wholehearted, and yeah, he was an absolute an absolute great player to have at the club. I mean, he just was full of running, but the guy was brilliant. He was 100%. He used to give his 100% every game, didn't he? So the guy deserved legendary status in some ways because he just gave his all, didn't he? And you're going back to that celebration, John, when he scored against West Ham.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it there on the screen now. I mean, yeah, that celebration.
Yeah.
When he took his shirt off. I mean, but yeah, what that guy went through and come back from testicular cancer to come back and do all that. Absolute fantastic guy, an absolute hero. And that was basically, let's go and stick, when he'd done his celebration in front of Mike Ashley and Penfold, it was like, yeah, there you go. Stick the fingers up to them, basically.
Exactly.
That guy, I think our owners will have him invited to the club, and I hope they do, and get him presented on the pitch, because this guy is a legend in his own right.
Exactly. Get him a place.
Yeah. Foxy says, Clarence Acuna as my sub, he'll work hard in the final minutes of the game. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And LA Coffee, congratulations on 100 subscribers, Tony. Oh, thank you very much, LA Coffee. I didn't know that, but absolutely brilliant. Thank you to the 100 subscribers who have subscribed. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Right, John, so we're going to finally come on. So who is going to be overall? So we've had your 11, we've had your subs. Now, who's your manager, John?
For me, I'm going to go with Sir Bobby Robson. And I'll tell you for why. Because, yes, Kevin Keegan plays at open attacking football, which I think is brilliant. He kept us up the league and got us out of the old championship, got us in the Premier League, which is fantastic. Yeah. Bobby Robson, right, got us to 2 Champions League places this year. Right, so did Kevin Keegan as well, by the way. Let's be real. But Bobby Robson's got it all about him. He plays a good attacking football. And I just think he just pips it in front of Kevin. I really do. But both play attacking football, but Sir Bobby just edges this for me.
Yeah, I mean, he was my manager as well, John. Yeah, I mean, I could have had Keegan, could have had Joe Harvey, but but I just thought Bobby Robson, he was just the ultimate, wasn't he? And I mean, the guy was absolutely fantastic. I mean, we could have had him before that, but because he's that man of his word, he wouldn't leave Barcelona because he still had a contract with him.
Great.
And that's the type of guy he is. Guy's won trophies all over Europe, I mean, Portugal, Holland, Spain. I mean, the guy is just, he's a great manager. Now he got England to a World Cup final, because after that disastrous Euro 88 when Van Basten scored that goal against England, and Russia beat us as well. They were contemplating sacking him, but they kept him, and he took us to the semi-finals in Italy. If only we got past Germany, I do think we would have beat Argentina in the final because we would have got paid back for 86, and the players would have been up for it. But you know what I mean? Hands down, this man's was a great manager. I thought cruelly sacked by Freddie Shepherd. And I didn't like Shepherd's response after it as well, because, I mean, under Robson, yes, we did start slow in in the season. We did start off a little bit slowly, but then we got better and better and better. And because we lost to Villa down at Villa Park, that's when he got sacked.
Yeah.
And then, but Freddie Shepherd's response to it really, really disappointed me. And I lost a lot of respect for Freddie Shepherd after that, because he turned around and he said, well, yeah, he's been sacked. He says, but no manager's too big to be sacked. And I just thought, what's the guy done? What is the guy done actually wrong? Nothing. We had a slow start, that's all,
Exactly.
And sacked him, and Graham Souness came in place of him, and it was just like, and the thing is, the stupid thing was, Freddie Shepherd pays Blackburn money for Graham Souness, and they were ready to sack him anyway,
Yeah.
So
they must have laughed at us.
They must have thought, oh, that's all right, because we'll get some money. We don't have to pay Souness off because they can pay for his contract. And it's just like, yeah, but this guy, yeah, absolute legend. When he, I went to that testimonial. Me and my daughter went there when he came out in the wheelchair, and I had tears in my eyes then. My daughter did. She said, Daddy looks in the right. And I says, yeah, you don't recognize him, do you? She went, no. It just looks totally different. And then it wasn't long after that, he passed away within a week, didn't he? And I remember going to the ground and to the Lees end, because I had to open up the Lees end up as well, because we're only going to open one little part of the stadium up, but because there was that many people wanting to pay their respects, we had to open up the whole stand, and the whole stand was flooded with shirts, and I put a Newcastle shirt down and some flowers, and I mean, when you look, the shirts from everywhere. There was Barcelona shirts there. There was, Sporting Lisbon, PSV. They were all there, and it just shows you how much the man touched not just the Northeast in particular and England, but he touched the whole world of football, even Europe.
He did.
I used to live in the village where he come from, Sacriston. I used to live there. Where Bobby Robson was born and bred. But yeah, this guy, I mean, he was an absolute fan. And I absolutely adored Bobby Robson. I thought he was brilliant. And, some ways we could say we got him too late, but I don't think it was too late. Because, I mean, when he came in, the first thing we played Sheffield Wednesday and went out there and won 8-0, and Shearer got 5. And it was like, hang on a minute. Jesus, we were struggling before. Now he's come in, and all of a sudden it's the same team. But bang, we've gone out there and just took Sheffield Wednesday to task. But yeah, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, John, I mean, this man gets my vote all day. Sorry for going on a bit long, but I mean, it's just, I don't know what else I can say about Bobby Robson. Legend.
He is indeed. And everything you said there, mate, touched on it. Absolutely right. He's a gentleman. He never quits. And all the other managers in football clubs respect him big time. And that's the most important thing. And if he won us a title in the Premier League or even a trophy, I tell you what, he would have been on one of the all-time greatest managers ever. And which he is. And you know what it is, when he got sacked, I couldn't believe it. They sacked him on my birthday when I was 35.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
I mean, Foxy says it there. So Bobby, just for being more balanced tactically, never quit on us. Absolute gentleman, even after defeating, has a legendary career in multiple countries as manager. Yeah, absolutely, Foxy. I mean, he's a 1 in a million, Bobby. So Bobby Robson, manager, coach, Eddie Howe. Yeah.
Good shout. Great call.
Great call, Alan. So Bobby and Eddie, what a partnership. Yeah, wouldn't it be? I mean, yeah, the guy was just he was just an absolute legend, Bobby Robson. But yeah, he was always a man of his word. He never left a club. He'd try and do his contract first before if he went on to somewhere else. But yeah, the guy's an absolute legend. And yeah, I can't think of a better manager to have, to be fair, as Bobby Robson was. And I'm so pleased we did have him as manager, because we got to see what Bobby Robson was like. Yeah, never forget him. And I mean, if the guy was still around now, I reckon Eddie would be touching on him and asking him for some tips and things like that, because that's the type of guy Eddie Howe is, because of knowledge that Bobby Robson had for football was absolutely fantastic, won a European Cup, didn't he? Not the European Cup, but he won a UEFA Cup or something with Ipswich, didn't he, as well? So, the guy's done it everywhere. Foxy says, loved Keegan, but he threw his toys out the pram too often. Can't believe he quit that first time 96-97 season. We had a great start that season. Just lost a cup tie with Charlton, which can happen. Yeah, absolutely, Foxy. I mean, yeah, Keegan was just, one of those. He was a good manager, but things got tough. He just walked away, and I totally agree with you. I mean, I remember when we got beaten in the semi-final against Chelsea at Wembley, and Poyet scored a header, and they said to Bobby Robson after the game, they said, "Been unlucky today because we thought you were going to go to a final." He says, "Well, I would have got to a final," and this is typical Bobby Robson. He says, "I would have got to a final." He says, "But that bloody Poyet again does it again against us, doesn't he?"
Every single time. You know what? At the end of the day, right? I mean, take up Poyet, we win games, but he's there. He's done it again.
Yeah.
He just lost scoring against Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I mean, what a great way to end the show by going on to the manager and actually being the legend himself, so Bobby Robson. Couldn't think of a better way to end the show. But guys, if you like what you see, then yes, please hit those likes buttons. That's very important. It helps push the channel up the search settings so people can find it easily. And also, if you haven't yet subscribed, then please click the subscribe button and also the bell notification. That will also let you know when any videos are uploaded or I become live. So thank you very much. It's a nice achievement that I've actually reached 100 subscribers. The channel's 2 weeks old on Saturday, so I thank every single one of you 100 subscribers out there who have subscribed to my channel and to say continue to grow. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's great to have John on again. But this is our weekly show, the Dynamic Duo, and I think it's been a great show tonight. What have you thought, John?
Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, you're doing some good content there, Tony. Good names as well. And you know what it is? It's just keep going because it's good to see you on your channel, have your own channel. You're doing fantastically well. You've got 100 new subscribers, which is absolutely brilliant. Well done to you. Well done to the chats as well. Just keep supporting them, spread it around and then you do well.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. And before we go, where can viewers find you on your socials?
Thank you very much indeed for having us on tonight.
No
Tony,
problem.
really enjoyed it. You can find us on Twitch, Facebook, on John Sinclair TV, also on YouTube as well. John Sinclair TV as well. And if you'd like to find us on social media, it's John_NEFC42, and I'll do all sorts of content, match reviews, previews, fan forums. She's going to be on tomorrow night. It's going to be watch along, could be back on soon. Also do the transfer updates, sure. And I'm on your show on the Wednesdays. I've done Dynamic Duo, the Premier League roundup on Tuesday, Mace's channel on Thursday as well. So just hit the subscribe button on my channel, hit the like, subscribe. I've got 3,350 odd subscribers new, so I want to get to 4K.
Excellent.
And let's get me 4K at the end of the year.
Thank you very much, John. Yeah, I Like Coffee says bye, Tony, John, and all. Bye to I Like Coffee. And he says also, don't forget to subscribe to John's channel too. Yeah, absolutely. Let's help him get to 4K. Mason says, you off to Spain tomorrow, John? Are you?
I wish I had the money to have a week's holiday. That'd be amazing, but
he's laughing.
I knew you'd do that.
Chris says, great show, Tony and John, a top partnership. Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you. We try our best. I Like Coffee. Another holiday, John.
It'd be nice. I was tempted to go to Italy for 4 days in December, but we'll see. But I see what Julianne does. See what she's going to be up to.
Yeah. Yeah, but guys in the chat, thank you very much for coming on. And before I go, on my socials, you can find me at TonyTony31 on Twitter. So give me a follow and I'll follow you back. And also you can find me on my channel, which is It's All Black and White TV. Please don't forget to spread the word, get more people to come on and have a look, because I'm getting as much as I can on with great content. It's going to get better and better, hopefully. And tomorrow I'm back with the Fan Zone, so a brand new show with a twist. Rather than being Fans Forum, it's called the Fan Zone. So that will be airing at 8:30 tomorrow night. So please join me. If you don't want to come on live, then join us in the chat and put your comments in there. So we'll have another great show hopefully tomorrow. But tomorrow there will be a link in the chat. So if people want to come on live, they're more than welcome to come on live and have a say on all things Newcastle United or anything else general in football that's happening in the football world. But yeah, so thank you very much for everybody, and thank you to John for coming on again. It's an absolute pleasure. So yeah, so just going to get to that, and yeah, so we're going to bid you good night and farewell, and have a good evening, everybody. Thanks very much.
Good night.
I'll see you backstage, John.
Me, Bob.
Thank you. Bye-bye.